What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Got a couple of quick and spicy duels for you guys to check out, including our first duel, which is going to show off a little bit of Ad Ignister. It really feels like even when you make a bunch of mistakes with this archetype, the deck is so strong it can easily bail you out. And Firewall Dark Fluid Dragon, the cover card of Chaos Impact, was just absolutely made for this archetype. Not only can it be a very good card to go into in the early turns, because if you're dueling against like a combo deck that uses a bunch of monster effects, you can just negate all of those. But oddly enough, it's an OTK cheese card as well, so even if you're going second, you can use it to potentially one-shot your opponent, which is also pretty awesome. You guys will see in this duel, even when you make a bunch of mistakes, like, you can still be bailed out by that single card. But before we jump into our duel, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, the brand new amazing RPG for mobile. Raid is without a doubt the most ambitious RPG project of 2019, and quite frankly is only comparable to AAA PC and console games. Just look at these phenomenal graphics. I actually didn't believe it was a mobile game at first. Raid has breathtaking visuals, a cinematic storyline, giant boss fights, PvP battles, and hundreds of champions to customize and collect. Personally, my favorite part of Raid, outside of the gorgeous visuals, is this super in-depth character customization. But don't take my word for it. Check out the nearly perfect review score it has in the Google Play Store with over 300,000 reviews, or ask any of the 10 million players who have already downloaded the game. And best of all, Raid is shockingly totally free. Did I also mention the new Faction Wars mode that is not only challenging but a boatload of fun? Lastly, Raid gives players a new login reward for the first 90 days, so you get some awesome free stuff just for playing. So download Raid today. Use the link in the description below and you'll get 50,000 bonus silver and a free epic champion as part of the new player program to start your journey. Now, as I have said before, I don't believe that Ad Ignister should go first, because while Dark Fluid Dragon having a bunch of negations is awesome, you have to keep in mind Dark Fluid Dragon does not actually destroy the card, it negates. Also, I just feel like, you know, there's decks like Sky Striker and Altergeist, True Draco. These are decks where monster negation is not all that great, so if you're putting all your eggs in the monster negation basket, it kind of becomes pretty easy for your opponent to just go Afterburner, pop your Dark Fluid Dragon, and then you don't have anything to show for it. But you guys will see how the deck can kind of bail you out. So he's dueling against Grenmaju, the Golden Castle build, and you know, the monster negation can be decent against a deck like this. Even though he's not destroying cards like Hextrude, he can at least, you know, keep his Dark Fluid Dragon protected. His opponent tries to go for Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon, you can just keep negating those cards. You're not actually destroying those cards, but you're at least not losing your cards. Now, that was interesting. His opponent forgot about the Synchro Monster. This is why the Synchro Monster is such a good card. Even in the graveyard, it's still valuable. Your opponent blows up your field spell, so what? You just like get rid of one of their cards at the same time, and it doesn't really cost you anything. So Synchro Monster, excellent. Dark Fluid Dragon dies. He has one card in hand, guys. One card in hand. Do you think he can come back and easily win this game? Because the answer might shock you. Obviously, he is going to get himself a draw. Sidnet Mining gets him exactly to what he needs to get to, and again, the field spell can just put itself back on the field. So like, you should theoretically never really destroy the field spell. It does not make a lot of sense because your opponent will just get it back anyways. He's gonna go ahead, special summon. He's gonna add the red one to his hand. That's probably going to be summoned a little later. Well, by a little later, I mean immediately. And now he's climbing that ladder again, man. He's gonna go for, of course, the Dark Templar. You're always gonna go for this card because it has the built-in Infernity Launcher, and having a double Monster Reborn for any archetype is going to be something that's strong. Now he can go into the Synchro. He does need to pop Golden Castle, probably, if he does want to attack this turn. And once again, after destroying his opponent's monster, he can go for Dark Fluid Dragon, and Dark Fluid Dragon is bam, 8,000 attack, get one shot. Grenmaju is like, oh, so that's what it feels like to one shot somebody. Not so fun when you're on the other side. But yeah, man, this deck is one where the recovery is incredibly high. A lot of the monsters just plus off of just being summoned or special summoned, and really the deck does not take a lot of resources to get rolling. And you saw him essentially have one monster go into a Link 5 Dark Fluid Dragon, which did 8,000 damage, and obviously he was able to remove some cards off the field during the process. So yeah, definitely that is a nice little display of how easily you can drop Dark Fluid Dragon. You basically can just drop it turn after turn after turn. Second duel is going to feature Time Thieves. They're going to be facing off against Cyber Dragon. I'm not sure about running PKs, and I just don't know if PKs actually work in Time Thieves. I can understand if you want to run Brigadine, and obviously like some of the PK monsters can get Brigadine because that is a super strong card when you combine it with Redoer. We see Trap Trick players do that all the time, but I don't know if it's actually worth running the monsters because it just kind of makes it slow. Most decks will smash you if all you do is set one monster and then pass. And he has Ash Blossom, but he has 2 copies, unfortunately. He's going to use it on the Cyber Dragon Hertz. Okay, I guess that's fine. He will still be able to search from Galaxy Soldier, and this means he's almost certainly going to be able to get to a Cyber Dragon Infinity, and maybe, yeah, he's going to get to a Cyber Dragon Seeger as well. So he'll probably run over the PK monster, and then that'll just kind of be that. He is going to, yeah, he ends on a pretty solid field, and keep in mind, if he does actually lose out on his Cyber Dragon Infinity, he can just reborn the Nova and then go into Infinity again. So I think that actually looks pretty clean there. He's going to go for Shade Brigadine, then he's going to summon Gem Knight Garnet. He gets value out of Garnet. I like it. His opponent makes a little bit of a boo-boo here, right? So obviously, Time Thief during the standby phase, trying to take the top card off of this guy's deck, or actually I think it might be in the draw phase, but he's trying to activate his effect to take the Foolish Burial off his opponent's deck. Cyber Dragon Infinity tries to negate it. Problem is, Time Thief Redoer can just chain its effect. This means it can get off field, so it can't be destroyed, and it can obviously spin back the Infinity, so it will actually resummon itself. He's going to try to get the Nova for the Cyber Dragon Infinity play, but he's going to get stopped by Called by the Grave. He will attack, and then I believe he's just going to go into another copy of Seeger. This play actually did make sense. I thought it was questionable, but at first I thought it was questionable, but then I realized he doesn't want to have Nashor on the field, so I was like, oh, that actually kind of does make a little bit of sense. Anyways, I think his top deck, or the top card, is going to be Foolish Burial. That gets him a draw, Allure of Darkness, a couple more draws, and I think he might try to go for Overload, but the Retrograde's going to negate it. Then he equips it as a material. He will try to attack over the Redoer, but Redoer tags itself out, and if you guys don't know, when you activate Seeger's effect, you cannot do battle damage with the Seeger. So even though he attacked directly, he's still at 900 life points. So yeah, Seeger can't do any damage if you use the effect, and he couldn't get over this. He couldn't get over the Redoer without using the effect. So he was just in a bad position. He's going to go ahead and just, I guess, go battle phase, but looks like he wants to use the Time Thief flyback, and he's going to get himself a trap. He's going to spin the card back. He tries to go for the Cyberload Fusion. That's going to be negated as well. Man, it's going to be so hard to now top deck against a Redoer. Redoer is already a strong card in a simplified game state, but now your opponent can, or now you can just keep taking your opponent's cards, and you can just keep using disruptions. This is going to be such an underrated aspect of Time Thieves. Whenever your opponent tries to get something from their graveyard, he summons Nashor. He's trying to pull back his Cyber Dragon Seeger. His opponent can use the copy of Flyback in his graveyard and equip the Seeger as material to his Redoer, which means this effect basically fizzles. I've seen that used a lot of times, and it's very impactful. Anyways, he gets a trap off the top. So now he does have that non-targeting removal back online. His opponent gets Cyber Emergency, but that's going to be negated as well. He doesn't have a card in hand, and this is amazing, by the way. He just keeps on drawing cards. I looked at the Redoer, like, how many materials do you think are on this card? Just pause the video for a second, type it in the comment section, or just mentally think. This is amazing. He has a whopping 9 materials on this freaking card. This should be like, what is it, Ghost Trick, Angel of Mischief. When you get 10 materials on it, you win the duel. Like, I kind of feel like it should be some type of cheese play with Time Thief Redoer, but obviously at this point he can just summon a Trick Clown, he can just attack, and I would assume that Trick Clown is in there because he did play Brilliant Fusion. We did see him actually draw into that at some point in the duel. But hopefully you guys enjoyed those couple of duels. Go download Raid. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos. And actually, let me give you guys a quick peek at what this build looks like on paper, and I like it. I think that it definitely makes sense. I know I was giving him a little bit of grief for running the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots in his main deck, but then when I kind of looked at the build, I was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense because it's the only PK monster that he's actually running, and even if he doesn't need like Shade Brigandine, which obviously it can search, he can just send it to the graveyard, and he can also get a Fog Blade, which can be a nice negation. Fog Blade plus Redoer can be very strong, and he does have cards like Armageddon Knight, which can instantly send it to the graveyard. I think maybe, considering his deck is not a pure build of Phantom Knights, I think I would have liked to see maybe an Instant Fusion in here as well, because Instant Fusion can kind of be a level 4 monster at the same time. If you don't want to go that route, we all know Instant Fusion, excellent card going second, go into Thousand-Eyes Restrict, suck a monster up, going to Link Karibo, etc., etc. He's running 3 copies of all the Time Thief monsters except Bezelship, which is the weakest. You're always going to run these two guys at 3. Well, I guess unless we get a serious overhaul of monsters, but this being the Rescue Rabbit or Rescue Cat, and this being obviously your Stratos for the archetype, I still don't think the Time Thief spells are really that good. Like, I don't even know if you're playing like a pure Time Thief build, which how pure can it be when you only have 3 monsters, but I don't even know if I would really run the spells in Time Thieves. I just don't think that they're good, quite honestly. The Time Thief trap cards are a different story. Like, they're amazing. You know, you got Infernity Barrier over here for spells and traps, and then also you have like the Time Thief Flyback, which can disrupt your opponent's graveyard, and at the same time can take one of your Time Thief Exceed monsters and put a material on it. So the Time Thief trap cards, excellent. Time Thief spell cards, maybe I just run like a couple.